Today we're going to talk about fake remote job listings. So this may come as a shock to you, but 50% on all the jobs, any given job listing that you see on a remote job board, probably a little less likely on a careers page, but still possible, is actually a fake listing. It's not real. There is no real job behind it. So you might be wondering, I'm shooting out all these resumes, I'm shooting out all these applications, where are they going? Well, 50% of them, according to data, are going right into a black hole. So we're going to tell you about why that's happening, how it's happening, and what you can do about that. Marisa, before we do that, how you doing?
I'm good. Before we jump into this, and I'm super excited to talk about this topic because we have a lot of people in the community asking us about this lately. So we've got a lot to say about it, a lot to help you on it. But before we do, I'm good. Same old, but I want to know, you just arrived. You've been in Mexico for the first 4.5 months of the year. You popped back home to California for a second. You just arrived in Spain 3 days ago?
I don't know. Time is an illusion. Time is dilated. My jet lag.
I didn't even know you were I knew you had plans to go to Europe, and then you texted me. You were texting me really early one morning, and I was like, "Why are you awake at 5 a.m. in my mind?" And you were like, "I'm so jet lagged. I'm in Spain." I was like, "I didn't even know you left yet." So this
was a last minute call. Yeah.
I was so shocked, but I'm saying that not because I love that about our lives, but to say, just if you're listening, this is the real life of a digital nomad, where I feel like anyone else in the world, when you're going to Spain, you tell your business, you're like, by the way, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be away for weeks, or you're working obviously, but different time zone. And Jeff is just like, we're just popping over the world, and this is true life. So I wanted to say that, but more importantly, Jeff, how's the first? I know you don't actually know how many days you've been there. You've been quite jet lagged trying to figure out work and life.
3 days.
I think that sounds right. So you're in Valencia, correct? In Spain,
I'm in Valencia.
With a bunch of our digital nomad friends. How's it going? How's it feel to be back in Europe?
You know what? I've said it maybe 5 or 6 times this month that I'm kind of going in your direction. I miss Puerto Escondido. I miss everything to do with it. I liked, in a big city, one of the things that gets me is the buildings are too tall. You don't see the sun as much. And it blocks good stuff.
Everything.
Yeah, and it just gets very concretey. That's what it is. It's too concretey, and it's kind of annoying. And this is nice though. Valencia, I would describe as a much, much smaller version of Barcelona with all of the charm and none of the messy. Barcelona can just be insane. Too many people, too many tourists. It can be a little dirty, and this is just kind of the best versions of it. And it's I'd say a little bit of a hidden gem. I've met a few people here that are going long term. I just talked to one girl yesterday who's looking for a full-time residency here. I've got a couple friends who are now full-time residents. They've got a flat here. It's a 4-bedroom for their kid and for them. And it seems to be still a little bit of a hidden gem here. If you're into the Europe thing, it's not bad. The weather's great. It's all sunshine all the time. It's high 80s, so you'd appreciate that. It's near a coast, not a good one, but it is
there is water there.
There is water, so it checks a lot of boxes if you want to come back this way. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards, the tropics again.
Mexican beach town, Costa Rican beach town. Jeff, I'm so happy.
I'm even going to skip Cape Town for Puerto Escondido again. A lot of people are going to Cape Town, and I'm like, it's just better on the other beach. The other beach is better. It's got if you compare them side by side, which you should because it's a winter getaway. Yeah, they're both beach towns, but one's better than the other one. So I'm like, why?
I agree, but will you explain what you mean? And to each their own, right? We have a lot of friends who Cape Town, they've moved there. That's their place. They want to be there, most of the year. So why do you personally like Puerto Escondido and Mexico better? And I'm with you, but for someone listening.
I think getting around factor is a lot better. Everything's really, really close, and you can just scooter around. Cape Town, you have to go through crazy traffic with your crazy Uber drivers to get everywhere. You have to worry about safety. You can't even walk at night. You can't even walk that far anyways because everything's kind of spread out. There's a lot more concrete, a lot more congested. I like the charm of Puerto's dirt roads.
I love that too.
kind of surfer hippie vibe. You can see I'm still wearing my tank tops. Like, this is how I want to live. I don't want to wear sleeves ever again. I put on shoes the other day, and shoes fucking suck.
I feel that way when I go to Costa Rica too, when I've been there for a month or two and then I go to the airport to go home or then exist somewhere else. I'm like, ugh. What is shoes? If it's not
what is shoes? Yeah.
That was not even a correct grammatical
terrible.
sentence, but if it's not just a flip flop, and even that's like I'd rather be barefoot. We're in the wrong place. That's my belief. But Cape Town is also gorgeous. We said in our previous episode that made the top list for both of us for like prettiest views in the world. So Cape Town is special. If you like the more mountainy, not tropical, not super hot, don't need to go swimming, but like to be with pretty sunsets and oceans, Cape Town, there's a lot there. And then Valencia is interesting because I feel like I know a lot of, like a handful of people I can think of off the top of my head who have, of our nomad friends and other just nomads who I've talked to who have moved there full time. It's like, if they want Europe, if they like Spain, people are moving to Valencia. Definitely. There's a handful of people who've settled in Barcelona as well. But yeah, Valencia, like you said, is that smaller scale, a little bit more walkable, a little bit more doable. I was there, I want to say back in 2016. And yeah, so I know the feel of it. It's an interesting one. But home of paella, I think, is it Valencia where paella that's like the birthplace of paella, specifically in Valencia.
I know it's this side. Yeah.
I believe so. So there's some really good food. Yeah, so it's not for me. It's not where I want to be full time. Sounds like not where you want to be full time. But for many people who love the European lifestyle, it does check all the boxes.
I can totally see it. It's nice. Parks are beautiful. I can see why, but
but I don't
not
want
for
the
me.
tall
I've evolved.
and the concrete. Chef, wow.
I know.
Look
good
at
for
you.
me, right?
Look at that. All right. Well, with that, just wanted to share that little update so you can get live updates on just where we're at, what we're doing, and what digital nomad life can be like for you. And yeah, even if it's not the place you want to live long term, like, there's events going on. That's why Jeff is there right now. Some gatherings of nomad friends and birthdays and that sort of thing. So sometimes there's still reasons. And how long are you in Valencia? 1 week?
Actually, no, just until tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
We go down to Javea, which is down south a little bit of Valencia, maybe like an hour and a half for the actual birthday party, and then we're out of here for Morocco
Nice.
on Sunday. We'll be there 2 weeks. It's like in a little kite surfing town on the beach, I guess. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even know where it was on a map. I just said yes because I had a 2-week gap between this and the camp. So yeah, it's gonna happen, and I'll let you guys know. I don't know anything. Going in totally blind. I had a 2-week gap and had to fill it, and that's where people were going. And yeah, so I don't like the fast travel like talked about, but
there's two main coastal towns in Morocco that a lot of digital nomads live, just to like be by the coast and all of that. So I think one of them is more of a surf town as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you think of that. We'll get the live updates, guys. So tune back in. And with that, Jeff, you want to jump into the topic of this episode?
Okay, yeah, 50% of remote jobs are fake. Well, we got to talk about the different categories of what this means, because there's a lot of different types and reasons behind these fake listings. So some are a little bit more respectable than others. Some are outright scams that you have to watch out for. But it's worth noting that these exist a lot. And I think it's actually, I'm seeing the numbers, all these reports, because I'm keeping on top of all remote job, whatever. It's going higher than 50%. I keep reading more and more and more. So you hop on LinkedIn and you see that apply now button. That might be like the broken elevator button. Like it just doesn't do anything. You're just hitting it and nothing's happening. So there's ways to figure out why this is happening, and I'm going to let you take that part. But let's go through each one of these things. The first one, and I think one of the most prevalent ones that we see, is companies will post a fake listing just to establish a pipeline of candidates for when they need to fill a role. So for example, maybe if somebody's going to be leaving soon, or they're anticipating people leaving, they're going to want to have people on deck to immediately replace them. Or in the future, if they're looking to grow, they just want to have like people in a Rolodex that they've got ready on tap, so they don't have to have like a long recruiting process. So what that means for you is there is no actual job right now. There could be a potential job in the future, and you're just throwing your name in a hat for this potential job that doesn't really exist, which I don't love because it is lying. It's not a real job. You're advertising a job that exists today. That's the implied message that you're sending when you post a job listing. And when that's not true, that really pisses me off. Am I right in this? Like this.
You are. It's frustrating. It's interesting for this one. This is one where I would say it's a middle, like coming from the person who's applying point of view. It is really frustrating that like you're applying, maybe going through a process thinking you can get something now. So yes, I believe with everything, and I think you and I are the same on this. It's just like truth is good. Like we should all just be truthful. Lying is bad, right? Like why you don't want to mislead people. Why not just say, hey, we like there actually are a lot of, in all of the job listings we see with companies on the Anywhere Atlas. I don't know the exact percentage, but a good chunk, if I had to guess, I would say 30% of career pages, even if they don't have an active job listing, or even when they do, will have something at the bottom that just says like, hey, apply for, like, just submit your resume and tell us about yourself, because they want to always have that pipeline. So that's a way to do it in integrity to me, instead of saying, hey, we have this specific role, get to know people so that they have a pipeline. Just say, like, if people are interested in your company, they just say, hey, we don't have something right now, but we're always looking for great people. Submit your information, tell us about yourself, so that way, if and when we have something, we can come to you. So to me, that's the way to do it in integrity. But as someone who would be applying, thinking from their side and both the business side, you and I were we were looking to fill a role for something very recently. And I feel like accidentally created a pipeline of people. So we had, we were doing it correctly. We had an actual spot that we were filling with something, shared that with our list, and have a lot of really amazing people who applied to that role. So we have a pipeline of people now, and I'm like, potentially for things we need to hire for in the future, we could just go to those people and wouldn't need to go through that process, because we've talked to really amazing people who just we would love to hire, but just, can't hire all of them. So that said, if you think about applying to these fake ones, if it's a company I say like a fake pipeline role that they're not actually hiring for in that moment, if you really like the company, it is still, my belief, worth your time, even though I do think they should be fully transparent about what they're doing. That's aside. Still go for it, because you might start talking to them, they might learn about you, and then maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the line, maybe something will come up, and now they know who you are and they've talked to you and they can go to you for that role. So I think anything that's a real touch point with a company where you're getting to know them, they're getting to know you, you're a real face, that you've talked to somebody and not just, a name on a resume and a piece of paper, I think that's beneficial for you still. But
I think a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that could be almost your soft touch, soft lead, right?
Exactly. They get to know you. You've met real humans through the interview process, so you can stay in touch with them. And like, we've had people from our interview process continue to email us. If you're listening, we love you. We love that you followed up. And sometimes I'm so busy, I don't always reply quickly, but I see it, and I see how they're following up, and I see how they love our company, and I see how they want to be involved. And now I know who they are, and I know their personalities, and I know what they're capable of, and I know people's strengths and weaknesses. And down the line, I may never post another job and just be, at some point we will, right? But like, the next thing that we need, we're like, oh, we don't need to go post that publicly. We have these people, and ours was in integrity because we were actually hiring for a role. But so it's not always a bad thing, but I would say, be mindful. It is a pain, right? If you're getting your hopes up to start something, a month from now, and then they're like, just kidding, like, we didn't actually have a role. But anyway, so that's how the pipeline is kind of this gray area that I'm calling it. This is like the pipeline of these fake listings that aren't hiring that second. So companies, if you're listening, don't do this. Just have a listing that says, hey, we'd love to get to know you for like a role down the road. Submit your info, and if it's relevant, like we'll hit you back down the line, or talk to them now, whatever that looks like. But if you're from an employee stand of view, as you're listening to this and thinking, is it worth your time to apply to these? One, there's no way you can know really if it's real or not. So I think for this one, still apply, still go the networking route, reach out to real people, get to know them, try to get these interviews if they're interviewing, keep reaching out, because you're going to be, if it's a company that you feel like really aligned with, if it's just like some random thing that you don't really want to work at anyway, and you're just applying to apply, don't waste your time. But that's my thought on number one.
That's a really good insight. I hadn't even thought of telling people this because as I'm looking for job listings every week for the newsletter, a lot of these companies have general interest categories in their job pages. I'm looking at one right now, Chili Piper, which we go to pretty often.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's if you click into the general interest, it's listed like a job listing, but it just tells you here's what we're all about. If you're interested in the company, here's what we do. Here's how we work. Here's all of the perks, like really, really transparent with the perks and everything. And you just throw your name in the list, and now you're in the Rolodex. That's a great start, and then you can keep following up on that. Just send a touch point once a month or something like that. Hey, anything open? That kind of thing.
Yeah, and definitely do still find real people on LinkedIn who work at those companies and try to get to know them, get in touch with them, like do the networking too, but submit that. Like take the start. That's there for a reason, right? Because when they're looking for something, they're going to go down that Rolodex of people who have filled that out and be like, oh, this person could be a good fit. Let's reach out to them and see. So it's not immediate. And I think that's, if I could shout from the rooftops with everything, like the overarching bird's eye view of getting a remote job or any job is not to look for the immediate gratification, right? Sometimes, yes, maybe 20% of the time, you will see a job listing on somewhere that is listed and it's open and you will apply and you will interview and you will get a job. And that's like what we wish it always was. But most of the time, 80% of the time, it's the longer game of, I really like this company. They feel like a good fit for me. You're going to reach out to someone on LinkedIn. You're going to get to know people at the company. They're going to get to know you. And as you workshop it, something will become available. So I get sometimes, people, or maybe if you're listening, you're in a place where you're like, you want to switch jobs immediately. You want to travel as soon as possible. You want to get out of a toxic job you're in, or maybe you're unemployed and you need something. So yes, apply to the open jobs and do it in a really tactful, intelligent way. But if you are in a place where you're like, have a little bit more time and you're really looking for a role that you just genuinely love, for a company that you genuinely want to work for. And I think that's what's so cool, as I think about people who stay in touch with us at Beach Commute, we have an awesome accidental pipeline of people because there's people who love our company and us, and you guys read all of our emails, you listen to all our podcasts, you reach out to us, and we know who you are because it's so genuine. Like, you so genuinely are like, I'm in it, you've told us, like, you're in it for the long game. You want to work here. You love our values. You love us. And so if you do that with whatever company you're trying to work for, we can't guarantee it's going to pay off. But if you do that with a handful of your top companies, something will likely work out. And that's what I just want to shout.
I love that when people do that. They'll just send an email. I actually got that before working in my old company when I was hiring. People would send me a note on LinkedIn after applying. That already kind of puts you at the top. Okay, that's a little extra effort. Now I know who you are. I see your LinkedIn profile. I've got to look at 100 resumes, and now you just gave me a little extra, to work with. And I also really love these people that reach out to Beach Commute saying, I just want to work with you guys. Like, you guys are cool. I want to work with you guys. I like the mission. And again, like I've said over and over again, it's one of those intangibles that you can't teach, like a passion for something. We can teach pretty much anything we need to do at this company, I would say. Like, it's nice to have a little bit specialized skill set if it's something a little bit more specific that we need to fill out. But I mean, that's something that you just can't replace, that energy and passion. So if that comes through in your messaging, that's great. And definitely, get those general interest.
Yeah, and that's why we say, with the Anywhere Atlas, and by the way, if you haven't signed up for or, looked at the companies there, you can go to beachcommute.com/atlas, and it's a database of 300 companies that let you work from anywhere, and find those companies that align with you, right? Like, maybe you love healthcare, or you love animals, or sports, or whatever that is. Like, find those companies that you align with, and reach out to them in this way, because the reason it's so important and it stands out to so much for the employer hiring is because you're going to be a longer term employee likely, right? And it's hard when you have people who, nobody wants someone who's going to come for 3 months and leave right after you've trained them, and then you have to retrain someone else and relook for someone else. It happens, and it's, sometimes it just is what it is. But for the most part, if you can find someone who, you've been engaged with long term, who genuinely loves that company, if you're reaching out to companies and you really love that mission, likely, you're in it for the long game. You're going to want to stay, and it's going to be a good two-way fit, and it's going to be a win-win for everybody, and that's why it feels so good. So that was, a lot on the pipeline, but that was Yeah, that was the first one. You want to hit the second topic we wanted to talk about under, and these are what we're calling ghost listings, by the way. There's kind of two different buckets we're going to talk about. One is ghost listings, and the second one is actual, like, full-on scams. So we'll cover those as like the second part afterwards. But this kind of pipeline is the first of it's like on the fence of like integrity, not integrity, but it's still technically a ghost listing. So, okay, what's the second reason that you might see a ghost listing on a job board, Jeff?
The second one would be recruiters just trying to gather email addresses. Like, it's just building same thing, I guess, as building a pipeline for a company, but recruitment might do the same thing. So I'm thinking like outside recruitment as a recruitment type of agency. They need to have access to lots of people to fill roles, right? So this is a good way to build a Rolodex of people without, necessarily. It's a little bit more specific than just email scraping. You've got all these email scraping services where you can get anybody's email address if you use like hunter.io and things like that. But with this, if you've got these fake job listings, you've kind of got a narrow target. So you've got to say, for example, I've got like performance marketing, like an ad specialist role, and I've got a fake job listing for that. You've got all of these email addresses for people that are probably somewhat qualified for it, so that when one of their clients does have that role, they've already automatically got this list of people that are ready to go. So again, it's a gray area. They are going to hire somebody at some point, but there is no job right now, which I really think that one just is kind of the same story as the previous one.
It feels a little scammier because well, it's like, it is the same now that I'm thinking about it, but these people have to make up actual fake job listings and almost like companies sometimes, because they're recruiters. They're not like, the other one is an actual company saying like, here's a role at our company. So both are not right. Both are, again, if our little spidey senses of integrity and truth are going off, like, these are both not true. But recruiter, somehow it feels a little, I don't know why, it just feels like it's like a step slimier to me, because it's like it's like you have to completely make something up that just doesn't even exist in order to capture these. So like the payoff to you might actually be decent, right? As you said, they're not trying to like harvest your contact information to like sell your organs on the black market eventually. Like, it's not it's not to that level, but it's or to steal your we'll get into the scams of people actually trying to like steal identity and like actually steal information. That's the scams. So this one is like, it actually could end up helping you, because maybe they do take your information, and it is different than just gathering. Again, as Jeff said, anyone can scrape email addresses and contact information, but now they're getting like, they have your resume, your information, your background, like, you're answering all these questions as if you're applying to a role, so they know, they have more info about you. And the thing is, like, that could end up having them connect you with a role down the line. You don't know, but it's still just like,
not that role, but maybe
that's why it's weird. It's like, if you're putting in your time hoping and expecting for something to pay off, in the next weeks, month to get that role, that's not what you're going for. So again, I just wish people would be like, hey, I'm an awesome recruiter. I often have roles for these marketing specialists or whatever they're doing. Submit your, like, fill out this information and send me your resume so that I can just send, and maybe obviously people aren't doing that as much, or they wouldn't need to be doing these, but again, we just want to share what's out there and why these things are happening, so that you can choose if you want to spend your time doing this or not. And for these, when we see this information, like, sometimes if you go to the role or the company, like, there's not a company career page for this listing, or like, if you do a little research on the company behind it, it doesn't quite exist, or there's just like a weird landing page and it's not really a company website, or you've never it's like, what is this? So that's how you can spot these. Whereas the pipeline roles that we talked about, that's harder to spot, because it just really feels real. The company exists. The role could feasibly exist. With these, if you do a little digging, you're like, what is this this company doesn't really seem to actually be real.
It'll even be kind of weirder than that. I'll see some of these roles on LinkedIn where it's like the full job listing, and there is no link to any. They're not even referencing a company. Like, I've talked to them before, and they're like, oh, it's for our client who wants to remain nameless. Like, no, that's not real. That's a fake listing. That's that's obviously just harvesting data. So
Yeah.
if there is no company at all, let alone a fake one,
Right.
probably don't send your resume. Or if you do, just realize that it could be something future down the road. Likely not.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like your time might be better spent. So before we move to number 3 of the ghost listings, if you're not already on our email list and you want actual legit job listings sent to you, we can't promise they're not pipeline roles because sometimes they might be, but for the most part, these are legitimate jobs from legitimate companies that let you work from anywhere and are hiring. So we send these daily. We send these listings out. So go to beachcommute.com/email to sign up for those daily job alerts and other just awesome travel info and we're helping you to get those remote jobs. So do check that out. It's a really helpful resource. And with that, Jeff, what is number 3 category of the ghost listings?
Number 3 is getting back to the actual companies who are posting job listings to see what talent is available on the market. So again, no intent of hiring. They post a fake job listing and they just want to simply see what's out there, like what kind of talent is out there. There could be some even ulterior motives behind that. Like maybe they're thinking about replacing somebody at the company and they just want to gauge, what kind of talent could we get? What is their skill set? How much could we get them for is probably a big consideration as well. Maybe they want to cut a little bit of spending. So they're kind of like dating while they're in a relationship.
I love that analogy.
It just came into my head. I thought that was perfect, right?
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Just wanna
They're like on the
just wanna
dating
put
apps to be like, what else is out there? Is there a better
They're
relationship out there?
Yeah, I
my
think
God, Jeff, that
that's
cracks me
exactly
up.
what it is. They just got one. They're dipping their toes in the water. They're not ready to commit, but they're really, really close. So, yeah. So again, I think in one of those situations, it probably wouldn't hurt to put your name in there, but just know that this is a potential future benefit, as a potential future outcome, and not something immediately that they're actually hiring for.
Yeah.
Do you feel better about this one, or do you hate this one too? They're cheating on their employees.
But when you gave me that analogy, I'm like, I can't
Feels
be
dirty
good with
now,
it. It feels
doesn't it?
dirty now. If it's like for the replacement. But also this is one of those where it's, if we're not thinking about of cheating, but more of just like, let's see what else is out there. But I guess it is if it's like for a replacement, but they're not obligated to keep someone. They can replace them. This isn't a relationship, so I feel a little bit better about that. It's not exactly apples to apples of cheating. But again, I just wish it was with integrity. I think that goes for all of these. It's just like, why can't we all just be in integrity and just say what you mean? To say, hey, we're open, we're looking, we don't know when we're going to need you, but we are always like welcoming new talent and new people and new conversations. So if you like our company, submit your info and like we'll have a conversation maybe. Like let's be honest, we're in an open relationship, Like that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, that one's like it kind of falls into that sort of pipeline feel to me. It just has it's like one step further that they're like, we kind of have someone we want to replace. We want to see what's out there. Is there even someone before we just like let them go? So yeah, just be honest, companies. So yeah, I don't want to spend more time on that because I feel like you said it perfectly. I have nothing more to add. But actually, I guess the one thing I'll say is you can't always spot these. I think a lot with these kind of ghost ones, aside from the ones where it's like you can see, does the company exist? If it's a yes, if it's like a real company with a real careers page and roles that seem real, there's not really much that you can do as a consumer, like looking for those. However, for some of these, they are a little bit more like the scams and the like recruiters gathering fake stuff. You can look out for those a little more. So there's not much. It's like, I guess we just want to share with you what's going on. And I think it's really helpful because so many of you write into us and who, have joined our coaching programs and like get support from us. You've been looking for remote jobs for, we hear 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and you're not getting it. And it's so frustrating. And so many of you think it's your own fault, right? You're like, I'm not qualified. You feel like you don't, nobody wants to hire you. You're not hireable. You're not like desirable as an employee. So I think these are equally important for us to share with you. Not some of them you can't quite do anything about, but we want you to know why you might be feeling frustrated, and it's not your fault. It's not that you're not eligible or qualified or capable or desirable. Like, this is just the Wild West of weird career stuff going on.
It's just a bad system, and especially since everything is done online now. Everything is done electronically now. There's almost no regulation. It's just nobody knows how to work it yet, so everyone's just doing everything. Until somebody gets their grips on it. Okay, so next one is because sometimes companies are legally required to post an opportunity, but they're actually most likely going to hire an internal candidate that they already have in mind. I don't hate this one. It's just annoying. It's just one of those, like, there's so many other requirements and legalese they should be putting into place with fake listings, but this is the one that they this is what they went with. Like, this is what they're cracking down on. Like, it's just the wrong use of requirements, in my opinion. It's just kind of an annoying thing that it actually sends out false hopes in an effort to add transparency. It kind of makes no sense. And there's a few reasons why they have to do this. There's a bit of a kind of a bureaucratic, annoying thing that Marisa knows a little bit more about. So just so you understand the purpose of this and you know that it's not them necessarily doing something bad.
Right. This is not the same as the companies just doing this obnoxiously or trying to collect a pipeline. This is a legal requirement that they can get in trouble if they don't post job listings publicly. And I think it's once a company hits a certain size, if I'm not mistaken. So the reason this is this is US specific. I actually don't know about this in other countries. But for the US, they have something called the Equal Employment Opportunity. So for this, the reason is so that you don't have discrimination. It's so that jobs are open to different races, genders, age, disability. So instead of just saying, we have these people and we're going to keep hiring the same age or race or whatever they have going on, they're legally required to put this application out and to do a certain amount of interviews from outside sources to give people a fair chance. So as you were saying, Jeff, it's like I love the thought behind this. I love the law that went into place to put this here. I love the intentionality behind it. As you're saying, it's like there seems like there's other things to crack down on, because this doesn't actually, in my experience, it's like it doesn't really do what it is intended to do. Because what I've seen at big companies that I've worked at, that I've heard of, that I know other people working at, what happens is so let's say a company is a big certain size, they have a new role that they want to hire for. They are legally required to post that role. In the past, it used to be they had to post it publicly for 2 weeks at a minimum before and conduct a certain number of interviews. So here's what I saw happening. They know internally who they want to hire for this role already. They then put all the time putting together a thoughtful job application. That takes the company time, the hiring manager time. They post this job posting. Hundreds, if not thousands of people, like probably you listening, take your beautiful, wonderful, precious time to submit thoughtful applications. Most of you will never hear back. Some of you, because they're legally required, will get an interview. So then you go wasting your time preparing for the interview, getting your hopes up, going in. They already know who they're hiring. It's already basically decided, unless there's like a 1% chance they're blown away by someone that they get. It's likely not the case, because when you already have someone internal in mind, they know the company, they know the roles, they know what they want, but it's like so again, the intentionality behind this, I get it. It's wonderful. Like, it's like basically like not having nepotism. It's like, give everyone a chance, give other races, genders, ages a chance.
Poorly implemented.
It's just it doesn't make sense, because it's not like they have to hire this person. Yeah. Now everyone's just wasting their time pretending it's real, and someone internally is hired anyway. So there's honestly not really a full way to spot this, unless you know someone at the company who knows that, they've already got someone anyway. Don't waste your time. But I used to see this time and time and time again at the company I worked for in the past, and the person that they did internally probably was the best person, simply because they had knowledge of the company and, already had an in and knew the way the network worked. It just doesn't make sense. So as Jeff said, why not spend time regulating how like scam job listings going away or things. I don't know. It doesn't make full sense. Intention was there. No. Execution, not so much. So again, we just want to explain to you, if you're feeling frustrated that you haven't, like, you're applying and maybe even getting interviews and it felt good, or you're not hearing back, like, this can be why. And this is why it's so important to get to know real people at companies, get to talk to people so that they can also just say, hey, we have a real role. We'd like to talk to you because we know you and we think you'd be a good fit, and that's the way. So any other thoughts on that one, Jeff?
No, I don't think so. I've got one on deck here that's gonna really piss me off that we should get to.
Okay, what's that?
The next one is for the sole Yeah, okay. The next one is for the sole purpose of making it look like the company is growing, and that is just for public perception. They're doing that just to look like the company is successful, regardless of whether they are or not. It's like a replacement for showing an income statement to potential investors, or just to generally look good in the public eye, I think. And that's just such performative bullshit. You shouldn't do that to people. That's bad to do to the investors and to the public that is watching this. And it's even worse to do to applicants who actually think that's a real job. I mean, I'm trying to think of another brilliant analogy.
Yeah, I don't know.
One. Is this Instagram filter? I don't know.
I feel like it would be like if you're married and you
catfishing. It's catfishing.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It's catfishing. I was gonna say you make a dating profile just to like feed your ego and like be like, look at all these people interested 100%. In me, but I'm not gonna talk to any of them because I'm like quote happily married. But catfishing is a great example too. But yeah, it's a weird one. So the way this works, as Jeff is saying, is if a company, let's say they are wanting to raise another series of funding for their company, or make sure that their it look good to their shareholders, look like their company is growing. When they post, this is, I don't know what percentage of companies do this. I feel like it's on the much rarer side, but it does happen. And so companies will post listings to be like, look, we need more people. We're growing so fast. We're hiring. We need to hire. We're growing. And so it's like as public perception, even though, if you looked at the actual financial statements, it wouldn't match what's needed. So again, you're wasting your time. There's really not a way to fully know this. It's not like you can see this there's not really a way to spot this on an application.
There's no red flag that you can just pinpoint. Yeah, it's just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
So I wish we had something for that, because it's terrible.
But I would say the antidote,
should be illegal.
And then it should. Right? It should. It's like, that's where we want to actually crack down.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the
how is that? How is that not illegal? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so this whole industry is so unregulated, because it's not really like you're not harming people. It's not someone making sick. It's just this like weird gray area. Yeah.
You're just lying.
You're just wasting people's time.
There's no moral recourse. It's just exactly.
No so before we jump into the actual like full-on scam listings, and we'll talk to you about what those are, why they're happening, and how you can actually spot those versus these other ones. One thing I just want to say, as you look at the umbrella of ghost listings, the antidote to all of these is just, I say, proper networking. And I know you probably hate hearing that word. I hate saying that word. So I don't even like to phrase it that way. I like to call it get to know real people at companies genuinely and see what happens. So again, as Jeff and I have been having these amazing conversations with people in the beach community, that's what we mean. It doesn't have to feel slimy or sleazy. You're not trying to put on a suit and charm someone and network like the way that you used to think about networking. But what I mean by this is like really find the companies you're jazzed about, like the small, unique, quirky little companies that stand for things that you love, that are working on products or services for interests that you love, and get to fucking know people at that company. Like, that's the best I can say. They don't have a job hiring necessarily this moment. Maybe they have no job listing yet, but get to know people, send them emails, try to chat with people who feel like your peers at the company, get to know them, because that, like, I forget the exact stat. I want to say I want to say around 70%, if I'm not mistaken. You might, maybe you know this number off the top of your head. I was looking at a few months ago, but like the number of jobs that get filled through referrals and networking. And when we say referrals, it might be someone you meet at that company. And then when that company is hiring, someone is like, oh, I talked to someone, like, they refer you to the hiring manager for that role to get an interview. So this is really how you will get an amazing remote job that lets you work from anywhere. And when they know you, they're going to be more willing to say like, oh, even if we weren't sure about letting you work from anywhere, like, tell us how that works. Like, maybe they'll let you because you've have this relationship and you've gotten to know people. So anyway, you can't always spot the ghost listings except for like the one with the recruiters that we mentioned, but you can genuinely get to know people. And if you're listening, so many people don't do this because it takes time, but you're also taking time submitting fake, useless job listings. So you're also taking time submitting, you spend your time wisely, really trying to make an impact. It's going to take, like, I would say take 5 hours every week and write thoughtful emails, do phone calls with people, get these like connections with people. It does take time and it does take work. And it's the same. I like to make the analogy of, like, if you want to lose weight and you want to be healthier, right? It's like, you know what to do. You want to eat a little healthier and you want to spend your time actually moving and lifting weights and working out. But like, we all just want a quick fix. It's just like, no, just tell me the pill to take, right? Like, for this, like, there is no pill to take. It's doing the work. It's going to the gym, which is sending these emails, having thoughtful phone calls. So I cannot stress this enough, and I'm really passionate about it because I want you all to get a remote job that lets you work from anywhere, doing something you love. And that is, we can teach you, and we have a program if you're interested. Visit beachcommute.com/apply. We have a remote job fast track program that really teaches you, like, there's a lot of science and art to this of, what do you say when you're reaching out? How do you actually get phone calls? How do you actually connect with people so you don't sound sleazy and annoying and slimy? Like, we will teach you all of that if you'd like our support. So if you do, feel free to check out that link and apply, and we'll reach out if you're a good fit. But, if you're doing this on your own, just like spend your time getting to know people genuinely instead of applying to useless job listings. But do apply to the job listings too if you see good ones. Like, don't not do that. So anyway, that was a rant there.
It's valuable. I do like what you said about actually following the companies, and a note on that is the Anywhere Atlas is a bunch of companies that we've actually vetted. So you do want to, that your defense against these fake listings is knowing the companies and following the companies that you really like.
Yeah.
And the Atlas is a really, really good starting point because we vetted all of them, and I remove them. I don't know if you know this, but like if I see something dodgy with like recent Glassdoor reviews tanking and stuff. And yeah, we do see this, like, or they've changed policies. We've seen this a number of times.
2 in the last week.
Yeah. If we see a change in policies, like, we're only allowing you to work from California remote or whatever like that, they're gone, right? So we're keeping an eye on these kind of things because, yeah, if the companies do change, leadership changes. That's when a lot of stuff happens. I'll read about that in a company. I'm like, this company used to be great. And I'll go on Glassdoor and they're like, downhill since leadership changed. That to me is a new company. So I think the idea is start with that list because we're on it, and then figure out like which of these companies just feel like good places to work, and start to work backwards that way.
Yeah, so and if there's other small companies that you know of, like, they might, what we share on the Anywhere Atlas is vetted to be 100% of these listings you can work from anywhere. They support that, but there are other what we call, I say hybrid. Not hybrid in that, like, you have to go into an office sometimes, but like some of the roles might be required to go into an office, but some of them, they might let you work from anywhere. Or maybe it's just a small quirky company that's like never really needed to let someone work from anywhere and they haven't thought about it, but they really like you and you can educate them on like how they don't have to pay taxes if you do this and ways to work around it, and they'll let you. So I have a lot of clients who have found jobs with smaller companies that they just formed these relationships with, that they genuinely liked, they got to know, and then you can negotiate your own terms to work remotely while you travel. So as Jeff said, like, start with the Atlas for sure. Find the companies you like, get to know people there, and then get creative on your own as well. And we send, like, again, we're always adding and subtracting from the Atlas. So definitely, if you're not on our email list, like, get on it, check it out, go to beachcommute.com/email because we're always sending new companies, new listings that you might see. So it's a great way for it to like be pushed to you, but also be proactive and find quirky little companies, or maybe someone who works at a little company, and like find those two and go both routes. And like, if you take action, you are going to be the one that gets the work from anywhere job, while other people are still sitting there saying like, oh, poor me, like nobody's hiring me. I can't find, not getting, interviews. I can't find companies that let me work from anywhere. So be proactive, and like there are millions of people out there doing this, so you can be one of them. Okay. That's our soapbox. Jeff, tell us about scams.
We're not at scams yet. There's one more that actually pisses me off even more than any of these.
Do off the most. Okay, you do this one.
All right. So 62% of employers surveyed say that they will make fake job listings to make their current employees feel replaceable. Let me explain a little bit more. They post these ghost jobs so that the employees are motivated. So if they see these jobs, they think that the employees might work harder out of fear rather than encouragement, inspiration, all the things that we like, all the words that we really like about an organization. They're going against that. They're using the fear route. What is it? The carrot or the stick, right? They're using the stick in this instance. And that is, you never get good work out of people. It's wrong on so many levels. Posting the fake job listing is terrible. This is kind of a backdoor threat. It's like a passive aggressive threat to your employees, which is also bad. That's number 2 bad. And number 3 bad is making employees work out of fear rather than empowerment. And you never get the best out of, especially a knowledge worker, right? And I think any job, but anybody that requires some sort of creativity or deep thinking, if you've got an air of anxiety behind you when you're working, it's terrible. It's a huge burden. It's a weight on your shoulders. And on that, I read somewhere recently they did a study on how much work stress decreases your life expectancy. The biggest thing was fear of losing your job. It's workplace fear. And it can reduce your life expectancy by something like 20%. It's the equivalent of smoking.
It's literally killing their employees.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of having smoked your whole life in terms of risk to your health, because the stress just through your veins every day. I think everybody listening to this podcast has probably worked at a job where you're afraid. You're working out of fear. Working out of fear from your manager in an environment where they just churn and burn, just burn you out kind of thing. It's a terrible feeling. It's not good. In those instances, I don't know if you can identify those either. It's very similar to the fake job listings to make the company look like it's growing. There's no way to backtrack that and see why or how that popped up. Unless you've got something in mind. I don't know. I'll let you react to it.
No, that's the same. The analogy that comes to mind is I feel like this is almost the worst of all of them.
It is.
But it if we're giving back to the dating analogy, it reminds me of a couple that's married and one of them is actively on dating apps and be like, look, this person wants to meet with me. Look, this person wants to meet. Look, I could leave you for this person any second. It's what kind of marriage is that? So yeah, that's what's reminding me of a bad one. That's what reminds me of the companies as well. So yeah, there's not really a place you can note or see that this is happening. It would look like a real job listing, a real company, all of that, and that's just terrible. But again,
it feels gross. It just feels so gross to me.
Yeah, I hate that. Be an integrity companies. Just be an integrity. Okay.
If we find out about any company doing that, you're out of the atlas.
You're off.
You're off the list. Be forewarned.
Kicked off our app.
You booted.
All right. So with that now, I want to get to this. I want to get to the scams. I want you to talk about it. So that was the first bucket of why you might see ghost listings, why you may or may not know they're ghost listings, but most importantly, why you know your own frustrations of why you might not be hearing back from places, even when you're very capable and qualified. And to caveat that, I just want to do a quick little mention of this. You also could be applying to real job listings that you are qualified and perfectly capable of doing and would be a great applicant and still not hearing back. And it's simply because they get so many applicants, and there's probably people who are going above and beyond what you're doing of networking, of getting to know people at the company, of getting those referrals that you're not. So even if you are the most perfectly qualified for roles and you're not hearing back, it's because you're not networking properly or at all. So if you want support with that, again, we can help you. If you want to do it on your own, feel free to give it a shot. But I just wanted to say, sometimes don't go blaming all the ghost listings, because 50% of them are real, and we know that's still happening to you also. So submit the applications quickly, do network, get to know people, because you want to get in at the company, because sometimes you can have hundreds of listings and still not get an opportunity because you're just another name on a piece of paper and they had referrals that they can talk to. So just wanted to quickly throw that in there as a little caveat. Okay, Jeff, bring us to bucket number 2. This one will be a little bit quicker because it's just one main bucket of scams. What are they? Let's say, what are they and why are they happening? Break it down.
Yeah, this one's actually a scam, and the intent behind it is it's a fake job for a fake company, and it's used by not recruiters, not companies, it's actual criminals used to steal money, personal information, or both. And they can even appear on job boards, and you can get messages, you can get emails. I got one the other day. I just thought of it. I'm so glad I thought of it, so that I can read it to you and you can understand what they might look like.
Okay.
And I've got a list of things to look for.
I have so many. I keep getting text messages. I feel like because we do so much in remote work. Do you get these, Jeff? I get text messages all the time that are from these remote things. They're like,
daily.
We want to hire you for this thing. You'll make $6,000 in 10 days, every 10 days.
Started like 6 months ago. It's crazy. I get those. Don't answer those texts. It was a good starting point. Okay, so let me read you the one I got. This will just throw off all kinds of red flags. So I get a message from, it says LinkedIn member, no name, no profile, nothing. So if you get a message from anybody on LinkedIn that doesn't actually have a page that you can go to, automatic red flag, don't even respond to them. And then you also get some that I got one the other day from somebody who was fake. They used whatchamacallit, like a stock image of some Middle Eastern looking model, and she had one connection, and she was trying to recruit me for some sort of job. That's not a real person. That's not real at all. If you get like these fake looking, if there's no followers on their page and there's no actual, I've seen before, if there's no actual companies in their work history that are real, you can do that. You can list companies that you've worked at that aren't actually real. You don't actually have to tag a company in them. It's a huge red flag. So if you see any of these profiles that seem a little fishy, picture seems fishy, no followers, companies that don't really exist, this is a fake person. This one is the ultimate fake because it doesn't even have a page that you can click on. It's like unclickable. It just says LinkedIn member. And I'll read you what they wrote. I've got multiple of these, like 6. Hi, my boss has seen your resume and would like to communicate with you to see if there's a possibility of cooperation. Your professional field is very helpful for the project my boss is about to implement. If you don't mind, please leave your phone number. My boss will contact you after seeing it. Thank you. Stella Roberts. It's the most Caucasian name they could come up with. And my response, are you crazy? Would I just give a stranger
you would respond, Jeff. You're such a...
I have to dig into... Because it's a scam. I know, yeah.
This is research. You're doing research now.
Yeah, it really was. I'm understanding how they're doing this. I'm trying to. Why would I just give a stranger my phone number for an unknown job? She says, I'm just an assistant. I don't know the specific content. If you're interested, you can leave your number and communicate directly with my boss. I said, okay, link me to your boss's LinkedIn profile. My boss doesn't have a LinkedIn email, only WhatsApp and Telegram. I said, okay, I'm going through all the red flags so you can understand these. I said, okay.
You might have done this anyway. You love this stuff, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You're doing it for beach commute research.
Okay, it's both and both. Maybe a little 60% my own curiosity and 40% beach commute. I said, okay, then give me the website or the company name. And she says, I don't know the details. I'm just a temporary assistant. Now she's a temporary assistant, Stella. If you're interested, please leave your contact information. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's basically it. So, I mean, that should seem dodgy as hell to you because it is dodgy as hell. So if you get any message like that, just don't respond to it. That's absolutely a scam. A few other things to watch out for on these kind of things. Unprofessional communication. That was kind of one because the grammar wasn't proper. They didn't say who they were. It's very, very unprofessional. I've also had scammers flirt with me on LinkedIn, which is a wild place to do that. I've had that happen multiple times. Hey, looking good or something. I'm like, what?
Oh my God, Jeff.
Don't.
I am not experiencing this on LinkedIn.
It's wild, I know. You might see unrealistic pay and perks that just seem way off. Like those text messages we get. You get, flexible, you can work the hours you want and get $1,000. That's not real. If the job description is super vague, like they don't, because it's not for a real job, they don't know what to put there. If there's no company information, like I said, just don't. It could either go the route of the recruiter harvesting or a scam on that one, and just don't do that. Or if they ask for personal information right off the bat, like I got, Social Security, bank account, obviously don't give any of that stuff. If they ask for money for an application fee or like training materials or something, definitely don't do that. Anytime your spidey sense goes off with these things, all of these should set off a spidey sense, but in case they don't, if you hear of these or see any of these things, they're going to rip you off somehow. So just stay away from it.
Also, I just realized I only use spidey senses this word. I feel like you used this like 2 years ago on a podcast. I don't say that anywhere else in any other part of my life, but I feel like whenever I'm talking about it on the I call it like intuition. But on the podcast with you, I don't know, I just realized that makes me laugh. I only call it spidey senses. But yeah, one of the big ones you said, I remember this was maybe a year or two ago. There was a company that people were emailing us asking us about, and it seemed like a pretty official company. It seemed like a good sort of like asynchronous type. I want to say it was some sort of like writing job or like writing by the hour, however many articles you write, you'd get paid. So it seemed like this really cool, great, flexible work from anywhere job. But then there was you had to pay some sort of fee to like apply or do there was something weird. Once you got to like a certain like quote part of the interview, you had to pay something, and people wrote to us. They were like, what is going on? Like, this isn't right. So yeah, if you ever experience something like that where you're just like, that should just never happen. Like that's not how it should go. If anyone's ever trying to collect money from you, if they're trying to get contact information from you too early or like details that you're like, you shouldn't need this, like run away, run away fast and don't look back. And if you get those text messages or messages where it's like, yeah, you can make if it seems to be too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's about it, huh? We covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah, that is
Anything
a lot.
else?
No, that's good. There were so many resources in there, so we'll try to link to those. But yeah, a good starting place is just like get on our email list to start getting these legitimate companies and listings that we've already vetted, so you can start to get a feel for that. So it's beachcommute.com/email. If you want to apply, if you'd love support to actually learn how to properly get in touch with real people at real companies and figure out which remote career you want and actually get support to, like interview well and to network well and to get referrals and all of that, go to beachcommute.com/apply. And if you want to just check out companies on the Atlas, go to beachcommute.com/Atlas. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities and resources that we've got for you here today. But mostly, if you take nothing else, we really just want you to understand why you're not hearing back, what ghost listings are, why 50% are fake, how to spot them as best as possible, and especially how to avoid like real scams. And if you got any value out of this episode today, we'd love if you can give a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening. You can just pick up your phone wherever you are right now, just click those little stars. You can write something if you want, you don't have to. And I feel like that's all the things that I've got in me for now. Any last words you want to share, Jeff?
No, if you've got any crazy looking listings and you're a little unsure about it, shoot it over to us. We got a pretty keen eye for it.
Yeah, and we've had some fun actually. If you do see any other great companies that you think should be on the Atlas that are not, we've had a couple of cool fun things like sent over to us recently. So feel free to send us hello@beachcommute.com if you see something you think we should be added or removed. And we do sometimes, as Jeff said, like we're always browsing these companies and removing them if we feel like they're not a fit. But sometimes we hear from you guys because we've shared something that used to be a really great fit, and then you apply and you get on the inside and you're hearing back and you're like, actually, this isn't what they say it is. So if you ever go down that route, you're not required to or obligated to, but if you want to take a second to, just reply to any of our emails or send us an email to hello@beachcommute.com and say like, hey, this is what this company's doing. It really helps us as well because we, the Anywhere Atlas is a living, breathing database. And so we add, we remove, we edit, if it's just like you can work from these hours, but not these, we'll add a note to it. So if you want to share anything with us that you're learning firsthand, we always appreciate that as well.
Okay. With that, we will see you again next week.